So, hello, welcome to Cloud Robotics Working Group meeting. We've got a couple of new participants today, so I'll let you introduce yourselves. And I believe, Eric, you're planning to give a talk? That's right. Okay, so you can introduce yourself now. We'll discuss some other stuff, and then we'll come back to you to give the talk. So please tell us who you are.
Sounds good. So hello everyone. I'm Eric Chen. I'm from UC Berkeley. I'm a fifth year PhD student with Professor Ken Goldberg. My major research is system in robotics. So I basically apply all the system concepts in robotics in ROS and also like I'm the leading organizer of of a lot of existing efforts such as Focus 2, if you guys have heard of it. And also I uh, I also hosted I was the leading organizer of the across workshop on cloud robotics this year. Yeah, but anyways, it's very nice to meet you guys and also join this work group. Yeah.
Thank you, Eric. And Lei Fu, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sorry. I'm just a colleague from Giovanni, and I just started my PhD this year, and I would like to learn more about cloud robotics. So I'm joining the community to know more things. Yeah.
Amazing, thank you. Well, welcome to both of you. So the working group, we are trying to build a site that will help show resources for best practices in cloud robotics, tell people what cloud robotics is, how to use it. As such, I can share the latest news with our site that's under construction. So let me present that quickly, and then if anyone has any topics they want to discuss or news that they think is interesting, we can go over that. And then if we are out of things to discuss or we meet half past, whichever one comes first, we'll switch over to Eric's talk.
I had a quick logistics question. We didn't announce Eric's presentation, and I feel like it's not doing him justice because I'm pretty sure we would have had a lot more attendees for
Yes.
that. So it's unfortunate, but I just wanted to raise it to see how we all feel about it. I mean, one option is, of course, to just go ahead. Another would be to reschedule and make a proper announcement as I think it would deserve. But I kind of want to defer to you, Eric, how you feel about that.
I think I can go either ways, so it's fine. And also because, personally, I would love to, just keep working, with you guys on whatever the website or just efforts on just making the cloud robotics to be bigger. So, to me, I think either way are fine. And also, if I do both of the talks, it's also fine. But I don't really mind go whatever the way that you guys want. Yeah.
I think also it would probably be best to defer it because you would have a bigger audience. Maybe we fix we announce your talk, so we will have more people listening and asking you questions, which is also interesting for you as a speaker. And we can announce it on Discourse, and we can maybe fix the little glitch on the time of the mailing list invite that also could have been an issue this time and the last time.
Yeah, I think it makes sense because somehow I'm not invited to the working group. I was earlier on, I was actually saw this discourse thread, and also we posted our stuff over there, but I never got any follow up on that discourse. So I think that just probably we can definitely reach a larger audience if you want.
I think it would be best for you also to have a larger audience. So we should probably announce it and reschedule it for 2 weeks from now, or whenever you're available, and then we would have probably more attendance. Usually, there's more people during the. I think it's still holiday season somewhere, so we might get more people when September comes.
And I concur, and my observation is that whenever we do announce an agenda that is other than we'll just chat among ourselves about cloud robotics, we tend to get a much bigger turnout. So yeah, I think that's the right move. Mike, are you okay with that?
Sorry, can you repeat the last sentence?
Oh, I was just wondering whether you're okay with us, postponing Eric's talk and then announcing it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would also like for that. I was assuming that if we posted on YouTube, then folks would bring questions to a future meeting. And yeah, we should have announced it. I was in two minds about whether to, because I emailed quite late to confirm the time, and then I didn't confirm the time, and I didn't want to announce it and then not have you come, and that somehow be a mark against you. So yeah, I apologize for that. I think if you're available in 2 weeks for certain, we can announce that in advance with the correct time, as Giovanni points out, and we can get a bigger audience for that. Either way, we'll be recording the whole meeting. I'll cut down to your talk and upload that to YouTube separately. So you can take that link, send it to whoever you want. I can even give you the video if you have another channel you want to put it on. But yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Let's postpone the talk in that case, and we'll just have normal Cloud Robotics working group business this time.
That's good.
Well, thank you for being flexible as well. Am I still presenting? No, good. I was worried I'd left it up that whole time without realizing. Okay, so this is where we are with the Cloud Robotics Hub site. We are still under construction, but honestly, I don't think there's that much left before we're ready to go. We have our blog, and this is another point. Once you give your talk, one of us will try and summarize some key points into a blog post to generate some interest and then point to your talk. This is one of the things where from our State of Cloud Robotics survey, and big thanks to Giovanni for putting this together. This looks really great. Actually, I'm going to switch to dark mode for my preference. One of the things that we got out of this was that a lot of people are struggling with documentation, tutorials, and recommendations for best practices. So this is one of the reasons that we're putting this site together, is to try and help group those together, which I know, Eric, you're very familiar with because you have your own awesome Cloud Robotics site. And you've even agreed to either duplicate it onto this or move it over. I'm not sure which you prefer. But it's going to be really great having this resources page not be an empty page.
It sounds good. I think, yeah, because recently I'm on a paper deadline, so I would have more cycles after September 15th. I can do it now, but I felt like probably just like after September 15th. I don't know if that's a reasonable timeline.
Oh, that's perfectly fine. I think resources won't just be papers from online. We can fill this with our own YouTube videos, blog posts, anything we find online. I bring it up because it's exciting news that you're willing to move over, not as a request to do it.
Oh yeah, I think I'm also excited to move over, and also I need to update also like on the Awesome side to point to the new location, because yeah, otherwise people are going to get confused.
That makes sense.
Thank you so much, Eric. That's really nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Guys, what do you think, Mike? What do you feel is still missing to go live? Basically, one of the things I definitely notice is the little dinosaur there. Should we have an icon for the Cloud Robotics working group? And then what else?
Yes. So the icon is one. The resources page not being empty is one, and then the home page. I think we could pick better. Actually, I suppose it's because I saw in Chris's pull request that he had moved attributions down to the bottom, which I thought was a really good move, but it's a draft PR. So that's what confused me for a moment. But yeah, basically it's just tidy up the homepage to a point we're happy with, put some resources on the resources page that we think are helpful, and change the icon. And I think that's it. It's ready for launch. I may even look into buying a URL so that we don't have that. Oh, I'm not showing that bit. The URL is pretty lengthy.
Yeah, we do have we could probably turn my draft PR into a PR. I thought I would find more resources, but I think it's better than empty. So we might as well merge it and change it again very soon.
Okay.
So maybe a quick thing we could do to fill out the resources would be to just copy basically what Eric already has on his awesome page, and of course mark it as taken over or imported from or copied from with the correct attribution, and that would fill resources for now, at least for within 2 weeks, so that we could announce the website. I can do that. That's not a big deal since Eric has a paper deadline. I will go on holiday on Thursday night again, so I can do that before I go on holiday.
Yeah, I can do that too because I have the PR open already. Then I'll just
then
I only had one question for you, Eric. In the meantime, so as you pointed out, your resources are a lot of them are papers, like publications, which is great. We don't have any of that yet. Do you happen to have them as a BibTeX by any chance?
I think so. I need to write a script to convert it, but yes, I have them.
You have you don't. I mean, if you already have a BibTeX, you can just send me.
Oh, I just previously I have just use BibTeX to convert to Markdown, so I need to just find the original BibTeX.
Okay, yeah, if you can find it, that's great. But don't spend too much time on it. If you have to convert it, I can do that too. I don't want to cause you more work. I was just wondering if you do have it as BibTeX, that would help me a lot.
Yeah, I think so. I think I should be able to give you somewhat just by this week, I guess. Or just a couple of days. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah. Then I'll do what Giovanni suggested, and I'll actually also add these publications. And then I'll mark the PR as ready for review, Mike. Okay.
Amazing. Okay. Yeah. Thank you both.
Who wants to take the icon? I don't want to take the icon, guys. That's why definitely not the right person for it.
I can look into that. I will try and brainstorm something relevant and interesting. Maybe I'll even get my own poor art skills out for it. No, that wouldn't be a good look for us. But yeah, I'll take that. I'll bring back some suggestions next meeting, hopefully.
I mean, there's a lot of cool tools online nowadays, Midjourney or all the AI things that one can try. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll take that on, and then I think some icons for the homepage, and then if all goes well, and we've been communicating over pull requests pretty well, I think if all goes well, we could have this live by next meeting. If we're all agreed it's good to go, we can announce it on Rod's Discourse, on LinkedIn, on wherever we think is good.
Yeah, and I was thinking the site could be a good way to have traction, also to attract people to Eric's talk next time. So we should probably try to release it earlier rather than on the day of the talk. So if we could manage to do it already early next week, that would be the best, because that gives us a bit of leeway, and then people can start consulting it, reading it, and also find the next talk, for instance. Should we actually have a section announcing the next talks also, even on the website?
So we've got something like that, in that the upcoming meeting section says what we're planning to run.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Whether that's prominent enough is another question. Maybe we can look at making that a bit more standout and colored when it's important, like a talk from someone.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be nice, actually.
Okay, so that means that people can come to the meetings page and see what's coming up and how to join it. So, okay. So, Christian, how does that sound to try and get it up in about a week so that we have another week to get people excited for the talk?
Yeah, sounds like the timeline will line up. If Eric can give me that publication list by the end of this week, I can definitely edit pretty quickly. And then early next week, we can merge it and announce.
Brilliant. It'll be great to get the survey out and everything else. But... all right, that's, I think, it on the Cloud Robotics Hub, unless anyone else has something to discuss there.
Yeah. Any other work you guys want me to do? What about the URL? We were mentioning maybe having a redirect from cloudroboticshub.github.io, or how do we want to do it, or change URL? What's the decision on that?
One option is that we just create another organization and just push it there instead. If our organization has the name cloudroboticshub.github.io and the repo is called the same thing, then that will be the entire URL. So
yeah, that's one fix. Yeah.
Considering it's not public yet, I don't see a problem with moving it now. In fact, now is the best time to do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. In that case, I think, do you want to look into that, Giovanni?
Okay, I can do that. I don't know if I have the rights to change the org name, but I will try it.
I hadn't thought about changing the org name. It might be awkward with the URL afterwards if you did that. I think it's probably easier to create a new one, add the same members.
So I don't quite follow. I thought you currently have Cloud Robotics Hub as an organization name on GitHub. Is that not the case?
I don't think so, no. So last meeting I looked to see if it was free, and it was, but I didn't create it, and I didn't know where we ended up on it, essentially. Yeah, so it's a good thing to bring up.
The organization is Cloud Robotics WG, -WG, github.io.
Got it.
Okay, so I should create a new organization. Okay, I'll try to do it right away while you guys talk.
Quick action, love it. Anything else on Cloud Robotics Hub? I think that's pretty much the business side of this. So from here, it's what do people have in the news? What's the latest in cloud robotics? More informal discussion.
Maybe I don't have any news, but Eric, since it's your first time here, can you tell us a little bit about sort of the Fog Robotics? How big is the group right now? How's the funding outlook for you? I know in academia it's always sort of a question of whether there's ongoing funding and so forth. I know Fog Robotics, the group has been going on for a while.
Yeah, so on our side, currently our Cloud Robotics side is just like research is funded by Bosch. So they actually pay pretty well in terms of like just like the research and stuff. But of course, their direction is also a little bit strange compared to just typical Cloud Robotics framework. They want to do a more on the latency reliability side, just like some kind of like real-time flavor. So it's not like 100% like Cloud Robotics research, but it very closely related, and they have been funding for FogROS and also all the related research. Yeah, I think that's the pretty much the funding issue, just like status of our group, I guess. Yeah.
Do you then interact with the robotics folks at Bosch here in Silicon Valley?
Yes. So I have been just like working with them for like for a long time, I guess, just 1 year and a half. And like last year we delivered a IROS demo on just like using just like very mini robot, just like those kind of home cleaning robot to construct the 3D scene of the just like a room, and also like we can also show like basically reconstruction, find locating items. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
And the difference there was that you were doing all of the compute on an edge device or in the cloud as opposed to on the robot?
Yes, just doing everything on the cloud.
Yeah, very nice.
What were the main difficulties? Well, I don't want to break too much into your talk, but what were the main difficulties of getting that working?
So for that one, it's straightforward, I guess. But of course, it's using one of the framework I wrote, which just like for that framework, it's pretty similar to like today's Zeno, but of course, like at that time there was no Zeno. Just like of course, like it's not with no Zeno. It's like the Zeno is not just like it was only integrated with Cyclone. It's not like just like the current Zeno, like which is just being actively integrated with ROS2. So at that time, like I wrote something that is just like you start a ROS node at some one place and start another ROS at another place. Without any configuration, it's going to automatically figure out like, oh, like to bridge this communication. And just like all you need is a certificate, like security certificate, and that's it. And they are going to automatically discover each other and also get connected. So basically with that demo, it's using the framework I wrote so that it has a very nice throughput and also latency so that they can just like construct in live, I guess. Yeah.
That's very cool. Do you use UDP or is it based on TCP?
That's a very good question. So my protocol iterate for a few rounds just to, just like to test different things and also to figure out which one is the best. So initially, I indeed used UDP and also specifically used DTLS, but I realized just like it's basically it's a little bit hard to just like get everything to work, especially on the connectivity side, because like previously I felt just like it's going to just like do like a lot of like issues with firewalls. So that's why I switched to a sub protocol of WebRTC. So I didn't use the fully WebRTC. I just like used some kind of a component such as Stun, which is just like
so
discovering the IP addresses and stuff.
So you're using the ICE probably, right?
Yeah, basically just like ICE plus just like some kind of like DTLS. That one worked pretty well, I guess, like including like a custom signaling server and stuff. That one worked very well. So I used that for around a year. Just like, of course, to implement some of the like my own ideas, but that one works well. And then just later, I also iterate my DTLS to another protocol called KCP. Like the reasoning behind KCP is like there are some basically just like a modification of TCP, but it allows you to just like tune a few knobs on like how things get retransmitted. You can just like be very active in terms of like retransmission. But basically just like I have been playing with just underlying like protocol for some time.
Yeah, interesting. You probably know that Tailscale uses ICE as well, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, like everyone like loves ICE.
ICE is awesome.
Yeah.
So it's ROS2 all the way, right? The communication.
So I think I bypassed this ROS2, just like locally it's ROS2. I have a proxy node that just like proxy all the ROS2 messages into and serialize it to my own message and then send it out so that I bypass this. Because like personally, I don't think DDS is sufficient to do all of that.
Did you consider using MQTT?
Oh, that's a very good question, actually. So I think just like this kind of like MQTT, even Kafka can do something about it. But of course, like from academia, I always want to have something in control and also tune the knobs to just like implement my own ideas, I guess.
Yeah, that's what academia is like. You don't want to find a solution. want to find a problem for what you're saying. And it's fine. No, it's great. I mean, I think what you experimented with there sounds really exciting. I'm really looking forward to your talk. Just a little bit of context. I don't know whether you saw, but I've played a lot with WebRTC. I'm building like these robot fleet management components, right? So for robotics companies to build their fleet management systems, and the biggest one is, or the most popular one is WebRTC video streaming. So I've gone down pretty deep there too, but not to the level where you are. So I'm going to be very I'm going to be taking good notes next time. Well, when you present, or rather, I'm going to read the paper. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
You were mentioning, Eric, you apart from the work on Fogros, you mentioned a wider topic. You called it systems in robotics. You called it, if I'm not mistaken. So are there other projects apart from Fogros, or what are the other things you're working on in systems in robotics?
Oh, that's a very good question, actually. So there is currently it's still like pretty much half baked, but so I'm still working on it. It's like data collection. It's like currently we all know that just like large language model, vision language models and stuff, and then people have been just like also looking at this kind of vision language action models, which is to collecting the trajectories data like the vision and also language instructions, and also how the robot moves, like joint angles, like any vector velocities, whatever, just like all those parameters. Like previously we have raw specs, but raw specs is pretty much unusable in terms of the current training pipeline, like integrated with PyTorch, integrated with TensorFlow. So basically, I'm trying to just like come up with this kind of like unified format in terms of data collection, data management, data training, just like one format for all. So currently, I'm just having some kind of like just trying to use some kind of container file to package all the data in a new format that is both easy to collect, easily being trained, and also easily being used. I guess just like as easy as raw spec and also convertible to raw specs, I guess.
Do you know Wyatt Alt?
Which one?
Wyatt Alt, do you know that person? He was at Foxglove. He left and just took a project course with in Berkeley, but not with Ken Goldberg, but with a database guy, Joey Heller.
Joey Gonzalez.
So you may want to talk with him because he's working right now on a new open source, or I don't know whether they're going to open source it, but a new like basically database format. He calls it DP3. I can send you a link on GitHub. I don't know. Oh, actually, I don't know what that's. Yeah, sorry, it is open source, but they're still deciding on the license. Anyways, you know Foxglove, right?
Yes.
And of course, they invented MCAP. So Wyatt was their sort of head of data architecture, or whatever. He left partially because he really wanted to do something even more exciting, I guess. And he felt that they were lacking sort of a database. The MCAP is a file format, right? But he really thought that they needed a database for robotics data. Sounds very related to what you're doing. Maybe not a duplication, but I thought the two of you might enjoy chatting. Let me see whether I can find the link, and if you find it interesting, let me know. I can make an intro.
Yeah, that sounds good, because I like my collaborators actually have Joey's student, but he didn't tell me about the related projects, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It also made me think what you were saying about this. I don't know if you're following this Hugging Face Le Robot or the Remix. You see, I haven't used it yet. I didn't have time to look into it yet, but in my understanding, he's also trying to, or he has a format for recording multiple demos of robot motions and everything that is coming from the cameras. So like you have a format for specifying what type of sensors you have, what kind of actuators you have, and basically get the data from all of these things in a format that you can then use for machine learning, basically, for training. So somehow it's similar to what you were mentioning, I guess, or yes. Are you aware of it?
Yeah, yes, that's a concurrent work. So we actually released before LeRobot released it, just like this May. But of course, there are some differences. Like in LeRobot, what they use is actually just like pre-engineering. It's like you store like all the images with videos, MP4, and using like Parquet, which is another just like CSV format to store anything else. And they figure out a custom way of aligning like all the data in a way that is just like match, basically some kind of hack to do it. So I think just like it makes sense and it works. But I feel like they're not trying to just like think about the scale that is like 1,000 more or something, just like make the effort to be sustainable. If we want to make effort to be sustainable, we only need one format, not just like a couple formats and glue them together. So of course, that's my personal philosophy. So but I do aware of that protocol, and also I mean just like that framework, and also I also know that they are also having some issues that I'm trying to currently solve, just like make it fast, because like our current experience with LeRobot is like it's slower than traditional, just like training frameworks such as like TensorFlow's called TensorFlow datasets, and also with like also in just like scientific computing, it's called HDF5. So they are generally slower because they require video decoding step. So yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out about just like how this like my current effort can be integrated with a robot or something else. But yeah.
I'm glad I'm very curious about these things. I haven't had the time to look into them yet. Maybe, hopefully, I will do it someday.
More and more, it just feels like the next few meetings are going to be people just peppering you with questions.
Yeah.
I think,
also, I don't know if you saw the results from the survey. We basically a lot of the people that were working in cloud robotics were really having trouble with finding good solutions that work, or good examples of things that work especially at scale. We saw that some of the people that answered the survey had deployments of hundreds or even 1,000+ robots. So these guys definitely must have found something that worked. Did you also have very large deployments, or I guess in academia you have smaller
Not really.
ones?
I think currently our scale is also pretty small, just like lab setting. So it's not. So I really wish to try it out on a large scale, because like currently I don't have a right test bed to do it.
Yeah. Maybe we can find out what these guys with extremely large deployments are, and and ask them what kind of solutions they use.
The other group that comes to mind that you probably know about is Florian in I think in Sweden, KTH. I forget his last name. P is
Yeah.
the cloudgripper.org.
Yeah.
Are you interfacing with them at all, or is that a complete? I know that they use. I mean, they are. It's a very different type of cloud robotics, right? They're just trying to enable robotics groups to do robotics research in the cloud, as they call it, but it's not a cloud. It's
reverse.
Rack of robots.
Putting robots on the cloud. I think it makes sense. Yeah, I have been working with them for a very long time, I guess, half a year. So basically, like previously, like I hosted that ICRA workshop.
Right.
Like my demo was actually just like integrating Foghorns with Cloud Gripper. It was
very good. Okay.
Yeah, it was very cool. Yeah, and also like Florian visited like Silicon Valley like recently, just like last month or something. So we have been in good relationship.
Yeah, exactly. That's when he went to. Do you know the Ross by the Bay meetup?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where he presented.
So the difference there is that Florian is putting robots in the cloud, whereas Eric's communicating from robots to the cloud. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, I think for their work, I think it makes sense. It's like currently, I think, especially in the data collection effort, we definitely want the data collection effort to be efficient. Just not just every lab or every person needs to buy like $10,000 of the robot or something, but just like pay by use. I think it makes sense. But of course, like there are like a lot of things to go for that route.
So sorry, I'm not familiar with Florian's stuff. Is the idea that you can run custom robot code in a robot that they host in a lab somewhere? And is the idea of that you can develop your own robot?
So it's more like he has a test bed of just like he built a very large cube, like many cubes of the robot, so that you can just like collect some data like in parallel, or you can test your algorithm in parallel.
Okay. Interesting. I think I'll have a look at this. I did consider this at one point as something that might help people in that it's really expensive to buy a robot and actually run it, and simulators aren't quite accurate enough. If only someone made some robots in a lab publicly available. But I'm sure it comes with its whole host of issues.
Yeah, this is basically like AWS in the early days where they made servers available in the cloud. Here they're making robots available in the cloud. That's sort of they have, just like AWS created racks of servers, they're creating racks of robots with, instrumented with video cameras and then content, so you can play with something. They are very interested in manipulation, especially of these deformable objects, which is of course super hard. Yep. And this is just cloudcrepper.org if you want to find it.
Very cool. And then they publish their data sets. That makes sense. And you, Eric, you said you're working with them, right? What are you collaborating on?
So we have been just like mostly just like, so at the current stage, I mean, it's mostly just integrating with Cloud Gripper, but I think we are trying to just like, I think it's still at the brainstorming stage of like, what can we do with this kind of like data sets? Like probably just like, because like currently the other side of work, data collection piece of work also like needs a lot of data. So just like there are some like also existing just like some kind of efforts on just using the data that they produce and to integrate with my data collection tool. Because like normally like they can produce like 1 terabytes of the data per day for this kind of 32 robots. So if there's a way of managing the data efficiently and also just a good way, I think it definitely just like has something. Yeah, but I think it's still at a very early stage. And also I have been talking with Florian on just like a cloud evaluation testbed, because to evaluate people's algorithms, just like Hugging Face at early stage. Yeah, but that one is mainly just like talking, but not just no action item yet.
Very cool. I wonder if we should be asking Florian's group if they'd like to contribute to the hub or the group.
Yeah, we definitely should. We just need the right contact.
Then me, I guess. I
Yeah,
can message Florian.
Thank you. Indeed. Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, so basically we can just so what kind of things do you think is helpful to ask Florian?
I think he could give a talk, or one of his students, as we did, as you will do in a couple of weeks. They also it probably also interesting for them to present their work and maybe help us contribute also to the hub, and that would be a first step, I guess.
Okay, that sounds good. I think I can definitely connect the dots.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Eric. The goal is to help everyone do cloud robotics better. So the more we can work to that, the better. Very cool.
We also had, I don't remember where we stand with Tomoya. If we asked him, Tomoya Fujita from Sony, if we asked him already to give a talk about this, because he's taking somehow the other, from me, the other approach to doing cloud robotics, which is more like from the Kubernetes cluster, which is what people are using to develop, let's say, applications nowadays, and taking that towards the robot by extending the cluster towards the robot. That to me is the opposite approach from FogROS, for instance. FogROS is something that starts from the robot and gets to the cloud. And instead, what Tomoya is trying to do is, you have a cluster, developers are building applications on the cluster. Let's make that distributed application run not just on the cluster, but also on the robots to make a end-to-end thing. And but I don't know if I know he participated in a couple of calls in the past, and I think we already mentioned that we can probably just fetch him on Ross Discourse, because he's always answering quickly there. So maybe we could ask him too.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I'm sure he'd be happy to. I think I'm a little surprised he didn't sign up on the guest speaker sign up sheet, but that's fine. But that's the reason I haven't asked yet, is I've been looking at that sheet. So yeah, let's contact. I mean, we've got Eric's talk next week. We can hope for Florian's talk afterwards, and we can also ask Tomoya if he'd be willing to give the talk within the next few sessions, and we can confirm a date. So I'll post on. I'll figure out how to contact him, I think. Don't want to come away from the meeting with nothing to do. I guess I've got icons for this for the website. I've still got something. Great. I've got a note on that. So yeah, and I think once we've released the site as well, we can send that to them and say, hey, we can host, and also, is there anything you want to change on, or could be better on the site? One reason I asked you, Eric, about MQTT is that I think that's one of the best practices we're likely to recommend on the site. A lot of people, I think from the survey as well, said DDS doesn't really do it. And what's the best way to do it? So communication is one of the big things of connecting robots to the cloud. I think we're likely to recommend MQTT, so we need good resources for doing that. So hearing you confirm that you also found it insufficient is like, it reaffirms that. And maybe we can talk about your hand-rolled method as well.
Yeah, sure. I don't really mind about, just like alternative frameworks. So I think it's cool because like I think my handle is mostly just like fun to do research, because like really dig into just like whatever that is inside. So it's fine. Yeah. By the way, just to confirm the timing, so is it always Monday at 10?
Yes. Yeah. West Coast time it is.
Okay, sounds good.
Actually, sorry. We keep it UTC. So if the time changes in West Coast, it'll be whatever. It'll be the same UTC time, but the West Coast time will have changed.
Yeah.
So I think it's 9 a.m. once the clocks change again.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. Yeah, because I'm more worried about Florence time zone, but not my own time zone. So.
Yeah, here in Europe is 7 p.m., almost 8 now. So yeah, it's a bit later.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, so that should be 6 till 7 if the clocks go back. So maybe we can try and ask him when the clocks have gone back.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
October 27th. Okay. Yeah, anything else that people have wanted to ask our new participants about, discovered in the news recently? I think if there's nothing, I had questions that were probably better directed to Tomoya, but I think folks here would know more and could direct me on more, which is I was looking at how Kubernetes would extend to robots, and I kind of don't get it. When I read online, people were saying, "Oh, well, you could get robots to do off-board calculations using services that you've deployed with Kubernetes," but I don't understand why you would run nodes on a robot using Kubernetes. That seems like it seems against how the system works, that it's abstracting what the system it's running the node on is.
I can try to give you my understanding of it, but please ask Tomoya by all means.
Yeah.
The beautiful thing about having the robots connected to the Kubernetes cluster is that you're managing the robots like clustered nodes. So you can deploy workloads by using the deployment concept, which allows you to have pods, rollbacks, what are they called? Replica sets. So you basically can say all the robots that have this type of camera, this is your new node that manages the camera. All the nodes that have a gripper, this is your new node that manages the gripper. If it doesn't install properly, roll back to the previous version. And Kubernetes does all that for you. So you're really orchestrating your robotic fleet and deploying software as you are deploying software in Kubernetes, which is pretty powerful. And if you have solved the networking part, just like Tomoya seems to have had in his examples, then basically you can do a distributed ROS graph of everything that you want. You can run a very cheap, very stupid robot that is running SLAM, where SLAM is actually not running on the robot. On the robot, you're just getting starting up the LiDAR and starting up nav2. And then the SLAM toolbox node runs on an edge cluster there. So we did it. We had the Turtlebot 2s running around running on the Raspberry Pi Zero and doing SLAM. So of course, if you have local computation and then you have a bunch of stupid robots, then you really manage a lot of stupid robots, and then you do anything that requires computation on the edge or in the cloud. So that's my understanding of why you want to do that, because you get all the power of the orchestration that you don't have with ROS, basically. Because ROS is like the philosophy was you have your own robot and you use a distributed graph of computation to run on the robot itself. But why not make it on multiple hosts?
So take the graph that would run on the robot and run it across a cluster instead.
Yeah, and also you are able to manage this graph dynamically, basically, by using the Kubernetes primitives, which are designed for that, basically.
Well, that's 3 talks I'm looking forward to then. Amazing. Yeah, I thought that it was sort of an over-the-air update mechanism, but you would deploy an entire stack at once.
You can deploy multiple containers. The nice thing is if you do things right, you can start components in any order. So you can really do dynamic orchestration, turning on and off things on the robots as they go. You have a robot that is, I don't know, in a bad connectivity area. You turn on and off some of the components depending on how much bandwidth you have. These are all things you could do basically just with simple rules, just by using tags for marking things in Kubernetes. There are several scenarios in which you could use dynamic orchestration that Kubernetes supports, and that allows you to do it on multiple robots on a fleet. And that's a big advantage.
That's very cool. Yeah, thank you for that. That clears up, and now it sounds incredibly powerful, and I want to hear more about it. So
yeah, the hard thing is the networking, of course, because
yeah, if it just works, then it's fine. But
exactly, if it just works, then it's fine. Let's say that it's not so easy. Tomoya has done it, so I'm sure his solution works.
amazing. Okay. Anything else that anyone wants to talk about?
Not me. I'm eager. I'm happy to cut it short, also because I have some people over. So good.
Okay. I think then let's end here. We'll see next meeting. We'll announce. Eric, to confirm, do you know you're free next meeting? Is that you're definitely
Yes.
free? Okay. Okay.
So there are two ways. Actually, there are two ways of doing this. One is we can move Florence talk a little bit earlier, so that I can do it at 23rd. That's one way. And the other way is just like I just do it. It doesn't matter. So.
Because you have the paper, right? You have the paper deadline.
Oh yeah, 15. So I don't really mind, but just like either way, it's fine.
Okay. Let's if you contact Florian and see if he's even willing to give a talk first of all, because we're kind of just assuming that.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, and then as long as I can confirm a date with maybe a week in advance, I can announce some.
Exactly, that would be the best. And I mean, it's not a problem to have the call a bit later. It gives us a bit more time to prep the website also. So
yeah,
not a big deal.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'll message him after the meeting.
In which case,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I created the new organization, guys. Well, we'll see. I'll see tomorrow about how to migrate the content. Okay.
Okay, sounds great.
You've been invited. Okay. Then thank you very much, guys.
See you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Ciao.
Bye.
See you. Bye.